I am Tarık Toros. Welcome to What's Happening in Turkey. Middle class collapsing, experts leaving. Turkey enters summer with worsening crisis. The economy is faltering. Politics are in turmoil. A recent Financial Times headline says it all. Turkey's economic woes catch up with Erdoğan. The article explains the full picture. Erdoğan faces a crisis beyond his control. Each political arrest deepens the damage. The March 2025 arrest of opposition leader Ekrem İmamoğlu triggered political chaos. It also shook the already fragile economy. Investor confidence has collapsed. Billions in capital are fleeing the country. The Turkish Central Bank is rapidly burning reserves. Interest rates are soaring. Inflation is out of control. Financial Times polls now predict Erdoğan losing an election. His main rival İmamoğlu is gaining momentum. But there is a dangerous twist. Economists warn that changing course now could trigger total collapse. For ordinary people, life is becoming unbearable. The middle class is shrinking fast. Bankruptcies are rising. Basic goods are unaffordable. Even white-collar workers struggle with daily expenses. Many experts and professionals are planning to leave. Popular journalists arrested. An empty chair goes viral. The Erdoğan regime isn't just crushing the economy. It's silencing the media harder than ever. Since 2013, independent journalism has faced relentless attacks. In recent months, pressure has intensified on opposition-linked outlets. One example, Halk TV. The channel is known for ties to the opposition CHP. It received a 10-day broadcasting ban for political criticism. But the risk is bigger. If it happens again, Halk TV could be shut down permanently. Foreign platforms are also under attack. Netflix was fined for violent film scenes. Spotify received penalties over offensive song lyrics. But the biggest shock came with journalist Fatih Altaylı's arrest. Once part of pro-government media, Altaylı turned critical in 2023. His YouTube broadcasts gained millions of viewers. In his final show, he referenced a historical warning. Authorities used that to justify his arrest. Altaylı is now held in the same prison as İmamoğlu, Silivri prison. His YouTube chair remains empty. Letters from prison are read on air. Millions are still tuning in every night. The envelope handed to Trump. What's inside? Amid domestic chaos, Erdoğan attended the NATO summit in the Netherlands. He avoided unscripted questions as usual. But one thing stood out: an envelope in his hand. It contained Erdoğan's private briefing notes. He handed them to US President Donald Trump. Erdoğan's demands included rejoining the F-35 fighter jet program. Turkey was expelled after buying Russian S-400 missiles. In exchange, Erdoğan promised controlled use of the Russian system. He also requested approval for 40 new F-35s and 40 F-16s. A license to produce engines for Turkey's domestic jets. Trump's response remains unknown. Erdoğan also raised key tensions: US support for Kurdish forces in Syria, reports of a potential Israeli military base in Kurdish regions. Washington has yet to officially comment. A new İmralı chapter: dissolution and doubts. Back home, Erdoğan is reviving talks with the Kurdish movement. For the first time in years, negotiations resumed in late 2024. Pro-Kurdish DEM party representatives visited Abdullah Öcalan. Öcalan has been imprisoned on İmralı Island for 26 years. At Ankara's request, Öcalan urged the PKK to disband. The PKK held a congress and declared its dissolution. But disarmament is delayed and uncertain. Parliament now plans to create a new commission. The goal? Formalize the peace process. Skepticism runs deep. A decade ago, Erdoğan walked away from a similar process. The collapse led to renewed conflict. Talk of a military coup. At a panel in Germany, the DEM party co-leader Tuncer Bakırhan made headlines. He revealed Öcalan's latest warning. The mechanics for a military coup still exist in Turkey. The statement underlines Turkey's fragile stability. CHP Congress sparks judicial crisis. Meanwhile, Turkey's largest opposition party faces legal threats. The courts are reviewing the CHP's 2023 party congress. A ruling could come within days or be postponed until after the judicial recess. If annulled, the CHP leadership will fall. A state-appointed trustee could take over. Alternatively, the old party leadership may return. This legal drama mirrors tactics seen in Russia and Belarus. Erdoğan increasingly uses courts to weaken opponents. Explosive summer ahead. Turkey's political climate is heating up fast. Young voters are losing hope. Economic hardship fuels street protests. Despite repression, opposition rallies are growing. But Erdoğan no longer inspires with big promises. His rule now rests on fear and force. The world is watching Turkey closely. The regime's cracks are widening. I am Tarık Toros. Thanks for watching. See you next week on What's Happening in Turkey.